I have had my senatorial Princess Leia stuff sitting out in my sewing room since December, intending to film a video about it all, and I still have it, so I'm going to do it today so that I can put all this away. I have made 4 Princess Leia dresses over the years. The first one was in 2002, the second one was 2004, the third was 2006, and the last and current one was in 2017. So my first one was a very last minute thing that I made for the Attack of the Clones Midnight Show in 2002, and unfortunately I don't have it anymore, so I'm just going to show you a picture. I just went to Hancock's the day before, bought a bunch of white fabric. Mom threw it over my head and cut a hole for my head to go through and put a belt on it, and that was my Leia costume for the night. It was not accurate, but it was so much fun to wear. That was the first Star Wars costume I ever put together, and I was kind of hooked after that. I used to loan this out to people back then, and I think that's how it got lost. I have not seen it in 20-something years. I'm really hoping that maybe it's stuck in a bin somewhere around here that I just haven't looked in, but we've moved 3 times since then, so I think I would have found it by now. So I did eventually join the Rebel Legion with some Padme costumes, but after a couple of years, I wanted something that would be a lot easier to wear to troops, so I decided it was time to remake the Leia costume a little more accurately. So for Halloween 2004, I put together version 2, and here it is. I do still have it. My mom and I made this one using just like a basic angel pattern. I think it was this one right here. And while it is way more accurate than the 2002 version, it still had a few little inaccuracies here and there. It does have shoulder seams and top stitching, and it has a zipper in the back. But the one thing that I loved about this version is the elastic waist. It made it so much easier to put the belt on, and you can hear how heavy it is. It's made out of a crepe material, which is like a basic lining. And because of that, it is much stiffer than all of my other versions. But I wore this one for about a year and a half before I decided it was time to update again. So here is the 2006 version. It is literally just a big T-shape of fabric. It is self-lined. I made this out of the Joanne Jet Set fabric. I'd heard a lot of other Leia costumers talk about this fabric, and I wanted to use it for this version. So I knew that they got it at Joanne Fabrics, which we didn't have one here. I drove 3 hours away to buy this fabric. And the interesting thing is that this jet set is so much thicker than any other jet set fabric that I've ever used from Joanne, and I've used a lot of it. This dress is so much heavier than my current one, which was also made of Joanne Jet Set fabric. It has no snags on it. It's actually still in really great shape. Like, the only issue that I see with it is that it is tearing a little bit of the neckband right there. Other than that, I could still wear this today. It is still actually in really good shape. It doesn't wrinkle. This has been in a box for almost 10 years, and it still looks this good, this unwrinkled. It did still have some inaccuracies though. It is self-lined, but I didn't install the lining correctly. It's just sewn together and folded over at the hems and top stitched. So that wasn't great, but other than that, it was actually pretty good. And obviously this thing lasted me for a really long time. I made this in 2006, and I wore it until I made the new version in 2017. So that was 11 years of trooping events, and it still looks this good. And here is my current version, version 4 from 2017. This one is a step up from 2006. The lining is installed correctly, and there's no top stitching. The only issues I have with this one is that I think I made it just a touch too short. I made the collar a little bit too tall when I first made this, and I really didn't want to take the collar off and redo it. So I just folded it over and stitched it down. And you can see it's almost an inch too tall for my neck. So that is something I would like to fix, that and the length. And this one is just starting to show a little age. It's got some snags and some stains that aren't coming out at this point, but it's still functional. I just wore it 2 weeks ago at Huntsville Comic Expo. Before I move on, I want to see if I can show y'all just the difference between the current jet set and the old jet set. Okay, so I've got this little bell pop, and you can see her pretty clearly through the hood. And this is the 2006 version. You cannot see her. Which meant that when I did this new version, I had to figure out all new stuff to wear underneath it, because when I wore the 2006 version, I did not have to worry about anything that I was wearing underneath it. You could not see it. So for me, I just wear a skin tone bra that matches my skin tone and some skin tone biker shorts that do have a pocket that I can keep stuff in. So here's my current dress before putting any accessories or buns on. Speaking of accessories, let me talk about my boots and my belt before we go any further. These were my boots from version 2 in 2004. I bought these on eBay, and they're vintage 80s. Obviously, they aren't accurate, but they worked great for me for a few years, and I love the lining of them. They did start turning a little bit yellow after I had to wear them in the pouring rain at the Rebel Legion photo shoot at Celebration in 2005. I actually really loved these boots. They were super comfortable. They were wide enough here that I could stick my phone down in there, and I wore these with my Leia costume until early 2018, I think. And that is when I replaced them with version 2, which are the Liana Ellie boots that you can get on Amazon. These are much more accurate than those. I really love them for the price. They are a great Leia boot. They're actually pretty comfortable. I've worn these with both senatorial and my Jedi Leia dress. The only thing is that they are pleather. These are my first versions, which are starting to kind of crack and come apart a little bit. So I actually have 2 versions of these. My newer versions look better, and I don't actually know where those are at the moment. But we're not done, because Christmas year before last, my husband got me custom new Leia boots. And they are nice. I'm not gonna say who made them, because I'm not completely happy with them. Despite these being made to my size, I gave them like 30 measurements. They're way too big. I have to wear 3 pairs of socks with them, and they put this flap over a zipper in the back, and that's just really ugly. I hate that. And I don't even need the zipper, because they're so big I can pull them off and on. So at some point in the future, I'm gonna take these to a cobbler and have this flap removed, and see if they can also remove that zipper, because this is all really unnecessary. I don't mind them being too big, but I really hate how they look in the back. But yeah, that'll be for the future. They've been great otherwise. I've worn them to several events now, and they're super comfortable to wear long term. And because they are so big, I can again stick my phone down into the boot. I could not do that with these Liana Ellie boots. They are really tight on the leg. If you're looking at buying these, they are really small calved. So just buyer beware. And then there is my belt. I have used the same belt since the second version in 2004. My dad helped me make this belt, so I really love it. It is a piece of leather, and it was painted white, and my dad made all these conchos out of silver craft metal and button blank covers, and it snaps in the back. It's looking pretty rough these days. Obviously, it has been worn a lot. It's 22 years old at this point. It has been patched up a lot. You can see all the rough places on the paint where I've had to patch it. All the silver is tarnishing. But I still love this belt because it is super comfortable. It's so worn in. One of the snaps has come out. I do need to fix that if I'm going to keep wearing this. But I have had the stuff to make a new belt since I made version 4 in 2017, and I just still have not. This one is still perfectly functional. Yeah, it's a little rough looking, but it gets the job done, and it is sentimental to me. So just to show y'all how big these are, fully closed. And my feet are moving around in them because I only have one pair of socks on. So to put the belt on, I pull the hood over my shoulder. And then I have to suck in because I did make this belt 22 years ago. There, got it. All right, so I just did one snap because we're not going out in this. And then I do the blousing. I make sure that my side seams are actually on my side. And then I like to pull it down a little bit in the center front, like that. So that's the dress. So if you are wondering if there will be a version 5, yes, eventually. This was the last thing I bought from Joann. I went and bought 8 yards of jet set because I knew eventually I'd want to remake this dress. So I went and ordered some, and it was the last thing I ever picked up from Joann. Like I said, I still have the stuff to make a new belt, so I'm just going to consider that to be part of version 5 whenever I get around to that. I did think about doing it for a celebration next year, but that will very much depend on if we can pick up more days for our tickets, because right now we are only going Thursday, Sunday. Okay, now let's talk hair. I have 2 sets of bun extensions that I use, and which one I use depends on what color my roots are when I'm doing them. So let me check. Okay, red looks okay. Oh, definitely not doing brown today. My brown ones are actually my favorite because they are super easy. They are clip-on ponytails. You can see the comb right there, and I just put them on like this, and they stay together really well. I really love these, but when my hair is not brunette, I don't use this. So when my hair is a little bit redder, like it is now, I use these, which are loose braiding extensions. And yes, I do have some loose brunette braiding extensions, but they don't work the same as these. They're much harder to do, so I don't like to use those. Every time I do a tutorial or explain to somebody how I do the buns, the thing is that every like hair extension you're going to get is going to be slightly different. Like the length, the thickness, even just like the flexibility. Like my brunette loose braiding extensions like this are much thicker and they don't bend as well, and that makes them really hard to do the buns. So the trick is just finding some that work for you. And these came from ikickshins.net, and I'm really sad they closed up shop because it was so much easier just to tell people these are the braiding extensions, the length, the color that I got from ikickshins. So you could get the exact same thing, and now it's a lot harder. People ask about these, and I'm like, I just got these at my local beauty shop. I can tell you the brand name and the style because I did actually take a picture of the box, but I can't find where that is sold anywhere online. It can be really difficult to like find your exact things that you like to do the buns with. If I'm going to be wearing Leia for something like that I really want it to look good for, like a big event, or like for Huntsville 2 weeks ago, I will wash and dry my hair with it center parted so that it will stay that way better, because if I just do it like this, it doesn't want to stay that way. I put my hair into pigtails, and I try to get them right over the top of my ear, like so. Again, I don't have my glasses on, so that looks okay. And I'll also usually take 2 barrettes that match my hair okay, and put my bangs back. All right, so that's the base for both versions of my buns. When I do the ponytails, I will twist these up into little buns and pin them into place, and then I put this over that. I do have a video showing how I do these completely, so you can find that elsewhere here. But for the loose braiding extensions, I just blend my own hair in with it. So you can see that they don't completely match, but it is closer than that right now. So I start with the center right on my pigtail and pin it into the center. These are trickier than the ponytails. It often takes me a couple of tries to get it right. So let's see if I can do it in the time remaining I have on this video. I'm also not stuck on which direction that I twist these in. I will switch it up. I use hairpins, not regular bobby pins. They hold way better than bobby pins. When I first started doing Leia, I used wefted extensions, which was a choice, and I used regular bobby pins. And I would just try to tuck the wefts in where you couldn't see them, and I would have to use a million bobby pins. It wasn't great. And so when I updated to these, it was a huge improvement. These are also much lighter. Like, as long as I don't get a bobby pin on my ear, I can wear these for hours. Especially now that my migraines are better. Oh, I hate it when it ends in the front. Should have gone the other direction. Oh well. That looks okay. My secret to the buns is the hairnet. Even if the bun is super messy and doesn't look great, once you put that hairnet on, it smooths it out and it looks great. This is where you gotta start watching and making sure that they're even. Oh, this one's messy. This is my hair sticking out there at the bottom. If I were wearing this out of the house, I would have redone this one. But once I put the hairnet on, it's passable. Okay, so that's good enough. So we'll see if and when version 5 happens, maybe next year or later this year, who knows. But that was my little tour of all of my senatorial Leia looks.